Hi everybody, welcome to Stalking the Wild Auto Harp. I'm Hal Weeks, and we are starting this year out, as you already know by now, with a series about getting organized in our practice. And this week I wanted to talk about sheet music and everything that's involved with sheet music, whether you're using actual paper books and lyric sheets, and how do we organize it? How do we keep it all together from getting all scattered all over the place? Or are you using digital or a combination? And it's entirely up to you. But I wanted to talk about the different methods that I've seen people use and what I've used and what I haven't used and why. And just run that by you. And in a later, further episode, we're going to get into talking about online resources and how to find songs, go stalking for songs, and bring them back and tame them and set them up for auto harp and everything that might be involved with that, what's out there online. But before I do that, I want to give a thank you to my patrons over at patreon.com for chipping in and supporting this series on an ongoing basis. I really couldn't do it without you. So big thanks to my patrons. If you want to become a patron, you can head over to patreon.com/HalWeeks and chip in a few bucks and keep me going. And I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. So without further ado, we're going to talk about music, our cue cards when it comes to doing music, how we learn and how we remind ourselves. And I always have to go back to the old days of where it all started for me was listening to music, usually on a cassette recorder, pushing play, listening to a line of the lyrics, writing them down, pushing play, writing down the next line, pushing play, writing down the next line, and getting all of the lyrics to a given song written down on a pad, and then putting that pad into a notebook or something like that so that I could remember the lines to the songs that I wanted to learn. Those days are gone because now we have the wonderful resource called the internet. Not only can you use the computer for accessing music for the auto harp, but you can also use the computer for organizing it should you choose to. This video is going to be about organization of your lyrics and music, and later on we're going to do a deeper dive into using the internet resources to help us to build our repertoire. So now, for right now, let's look at using paper versus plastic, or to be more specific, silicon, and paper methods versus digital methods. And we're going to start with paper. Paper, y'all know already, is hard to keep organized. Paper music that we might use might come in the form of music books, which are already organized for us, and they're always going to be books, and they'll always be books, and that's convenient. We keep them as books, and I'm sure you're all aware of how these music books that have plastic combs or spirals are really better for music purposes because they open, and they open flat, and they stay open flat, so you can put them on your music stand without doing this and breaking the spine. I don't like it when I get a music book that has to be opened up and then this done with. If the music book is sewn, that's great. But how many books are sewn these days? Especially music books. And music books are expensive. So if you can find one, even a used one, with a plastic binding, if you go to order, say, a method book, like let's say you're looking for a Meg Peterson book that teaches you how to play the auto harp. If you can find one of the old ones that has the spiral, even if it's used, then get it, because it will fold flat on your music stand. You know the rest. So books are always going to be books, and they're great. But what about all the other stuff? The music that we might download, dare I say, might even pirate, and thereby hangs another issue that we're going to be dealing with later, versus about copyright and stuff like that. But for now, if you have a lyric sheet like I had in the old days, when I would push play, right, push play, right, push play, right, or that you've copy pasted and printed out from resources online, and you have these sheets of paper. How do you organize them? Well, some people put them into a binder, and that binder grows to be a big fat binder. I don't have one here, but you know the drill. They get to be this big across the back, and they're all full of your music and maybe sheet protectors. That's another thing that you kind of have to have if you're organizing music in a binder, which is a totally viable option. They get big, they get heavy, and you're going to need sheet protectors to keep the pages from ripping out. Although some people do use those old school little, what do they call those? The hole protectors, the little donuts, the little lifesavers that you lick and put on around the holes. Anyway, you've got to keep those organized, and you have to keep them in order. Sometimes the problems with sheet protectors is you have an alphabet going on, and now you've got a new song to put in here, but there's nothing on the back, and what's on the back isn't alphabetized with what's on the front. I don't know. I haven't chosen to go the route of the binder because I don't like a big, huge book like that. And then you've got to have a music stand to hold it. So you put it on your music stand, and you got this big, beefy music stand. I have seen there are music stands that are actually built on a wooden frame that opens up more like a luggage rack with a canvas sling in it, and you put the music into that. That's a great thing, and if you can find one of those, that's a great resource. If somebody knows where to get those, drop a comment in on the video to this. But you are going to need, if you have a big book like that, you're going to need a big music stand for sure to hold it. What I always did was my file box, and I've showed this before, and I showed it just recently, but the file box houses file folders, and in each file folder is a lyric sheet. Ta-da! And on the lyric sheet, I can make notes to myself with a pen or pencil or colored pen or whatever I need. One of the first notations that I mark, I'll write something like C on the music. Well, I don't have it circled. I usually circle it. Right here it says key of B. So it tells me to do Hesitation Blues in the key of B, and then it's going to work best for my voice. Now, that was written a long time ago. I can't even play in the key of B anymore, but I used to be able to play in the key of B, and I liked it best for Hesitation Blues. It's a note to remind me of where to start, and any other notes that I need to make about if I need to write in the chords, if I change some of the chords, or do an arrangement where second time around start this other kind of picking, or whatever. The notes go right there. So that's how I kept mine. And the problem was, like the notebook, the file box that I carried them in, oh my goodness, got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I don't want to be carrying this around. But here's the cool thing about the file folders is that if I want to practice 5 songs, say for a little set that I'm doing down at the coffee house, I pull out those 5 folders and I put them on my music stand, and they live there while I'm working on those songs, and then I file them back. But more often than not, I don't file them back. And then they get floating around and I get a stack of them, and then they're all kind of stuffed in the front of the file box, and then they all have to be filed. But I file them, keep them in alphabetical order, just by the first letter only. I'll get to the H's, hesitation blues, and it'll be in there with the other H's, maybe not all in perfect alphabetical order, but that's just me. So there's some of the ways that you can organize paper sheets to keep it corralled so it's not all over the place and so that you can find what you need to find. What are the other ones? Do you have other ways of organizing those paper sheets if you use paper? What are they? Please leave comments and let us know, and we'll have a discussion. Okay, let's talk about digital means of organizing these things. As I said before, digital organization, there's digital, how to find things digitally, how to go out online and find the songs, and then there's how to organize them. So this is about organizing them. There are a lot of advantages to keeping things digital. Digital is easy to read. Whether you print it out, then it becomes a paper method. But if it's on screen, digital, I mean computerized rather than handwritten. Computerized, we all know this, it's easy to read. You can adjust the font size. That's a really great benefit. If you're just using lyrics, the music is transposable. Even if you're just using lyrics, and that's something that we're going to look into. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Music sheets are transposable when they're on the computer. If you're using Chord Pro, and I'm going to get into that in another video, you can change the key of the chords, or if you're using MuseScore or some other music notation program, you can change the key of everything so that you don't have to do it in your head or do it on your fingers. It's all done for you by the computer. That's a pretty handy thing, although I do recommend learning how to do it on your own. Music storage on the computer is compact. It literally takes up no space, or only as much space as your computer takes up. So if you're using a tablet or a laptop, it is compact, and you can have an almost infinite number of songs in a very, very small space, which is very handy, and you can carry it with you. If you are reading music that's on a tablet or a laptop, you can use a Bluetooth pedal to change pages, to turn pages with, and just step on the pedal. High tech. I've never done it, but I know that the technology is out there, and if I went more digital than I've already gone, I might get into doing that. Digital music is backlit so that you can set it up to make it as easy as possible to read. Now, I'm learning that what they call dark mode or night mode, where it's white letters on black background, for my eyesight, is much more readable. And you can set it up to read that way, and you can make the fonts as big as you need. You can have them scroll at a certain speed so you don't have to turn pages, and it will remember the speed at which it's supposed to scroll that song at. That's all part of the music reading programs that I'm going to discuss in a different episode. The whole issue of digital music, though, brings up the question of what kind of device are you going to have it on? Are you going to have it on a laptop? Are you going to have it on a tablet computer? Or are you going to have it on your desktop computer and sit at your desk? Are there ways of having it on all your devices? And then how do you keep a backup of all of this? Do you have a local backup? Do you put it out in the cloud so that it is protected, and so that if something goes wrong with your computer, heaven forbid, And you know this. This is just like keeping photographs or audio recordings or anything else valuable. How do you back it up, and so that your stockpile is protected? There are some cons, some negative points to digital media. Navigating, there's a learning curve to getting around in your digital book of these lyrics and how you're going to navigate them and find what you need and pull it up and make it the right size and have it remember all that. There's a learning curve involved in that, and it takes some trial and error to really get that down. And regular practice, just like regular practice on the auto harp, regular practice with your media and your software helps you to learn it and remember it, just like anything else. Then there's the question of internet connectivity. Does your system require you to be connected to the internet? There's something to be said for just going out online, looking up the lyrics and chords to the song and reading it right from the web. And you can do that. But then you have to have the internet connectivity. And if you have it all local on your computer, then if you're not connected to the internet, then you can still do it. Then there's the issues of distractions. You're practicing and all of a sudden a notification comes up. You have an email, you have a text, you know, whatever. And you start thinking about, I wonder if this songbook is available. And suddenly you're online and you're looking at Amazon and you're looking at this on Amazon, you're looking at that on Amazon, and suddenly you're not practicing anymore. So distractions is a downside to digital media, unless you have like a dedicated music tablet that's just for that, and you don't really use it for other stuff. Then you can have all that turned off, and you can deal with the distraction factor. And as I said before, if you have multiple devices and you have a backup, do your other devices have access to that backup? Is your backup in the cloud? How do you keep all this synced up? If you make a change on one, how does it appear on the other? Or does it? All of this is the realm of digital media. It's more than I can teach. It's more than I know about. But these are the things that you come up against and that I'm coming up against because, and if you haven't guessed it, I'm trying to go digital these days and get more and more of my lyrics packed into a computer program. And because going back to the issue of practicing and keeping things organized, I need to have all of my lyrics handy and corralled and available in my space now, so that I can look up whatever song I want to practice right now, and boom, there it is. I don't have to go digging, I don't have to go hunting, or even more importantly, I don't go, it's all the way over there in the file box. I don't want to go looking for it now, so I'm not going to practice that song now. So, there you have it, folks. This video is about organizing your music sheets. The next video in this series is going to talk about some online programs and some online resources that you may or may not know about to help you get organized and to help you figure out the chords to songs, help you find lyrics, help you find music. So, thanks for watching. I'm Hal Weeks with Stalking the Wild Auto Harp. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.